kingdom come, thy will be done. The setting sun signaling the triumphant juice melodies nears victory. Christ consciousness within his system of limitation is brought salvation. The kingdom within emanating abundance, revolving around the center. God is tears meant to highlight and intact instead of being lost and out of whack. Thy kingdom come, it is undone by the transcendent posturing of repentance. The highest principles gloriously obtained, choose favorite possession, giving spaciousness instead of lessons. Silent vibrancy, inactivity, love, a relationship, and infinite commitment. Thy kingdom come, sitting up on the throne, the final presence known, secure at last, needing nothing from the past. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Restoration of the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is the state of lower conscious and refers to an inexhaustible, never full capacity, which describes a situation or person that drains immense resources, money, or energy. It signifies what can never be filled, such as a bottomless pit or hunger cravings. It also refers to a literal or metaphorical abyss. The fallen state is consumed by binding the mental and spiritual to the bottomless pit, always seeking and searching externally for satisfaction that will never be found. This applies to relationships, appetites, information, and the emotional. The literal biblical definition of bottomless pit says it is an abyss or hell, often interpreted as a place of confinement, limited conscious, or oblivion, forgetfulness. The bottomless pit is mentioned 7 times in the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is an encoded treatise on raising consciousness from the fallen state. In other words, like Dorothy discovered during her sojourn to Oz, awakening is the realization that truth is all there is or ever could be. Home. The bottomless pit is where the demonic forces manifest, primarily describing a prison, the subconscious, where they are held. These demonic forces cause never-ending desires, the bottomless pit, and this is because they are illusions, and their emptiness or lack of significance keeps the mind ramped up on the treadmill of worthless effort, where there is no rise, no production, only wasted exertion and toil. The awakened consciousness is the restoration of the bottomless pit. This signifies realization of the actual, the fullness. The bottomless pit is symbolic. It symbolizes the unreality of evil or air. Soul is the only presence. The bottomless pit represents a no bottom or endless abyss because it has no basis in truth. Christ's material consciousness, the kingdom. The bottomless pit refers to a nothingness that takes form or as illusion in outer appearance. Summarizing Revelation chapter 9 verses 1 through 2. And the fifth angel sounded. A star fell unto earth. Keys given to the bottomless pit. It was opened. Smoke arose out the pit as a great furnace. The pit represents a void within the fallen conscious state where negative thinking, violence, and errors fester before they are projected externally. Revelation chapter 9 verse 11. And they had a king, the ego, the imposter, over them, which is the angel, the messenger of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, the destructive forces of chaos, which materializes the transformation of consciousness through ruin. And the necessary dissolution of form. Abaddon embodies the dissolution of old beliefs, making way for solar rebirth. Abaddon symbolizes the unconscious mind and the profound, chaotic depths of potential from which newness arises. Abaddon in Hebrew means destruction. The Greek equivalent is Apollyon, which means destroyer. This destroyer of illusion. Of course, to the world ego, it interpreted it as a malevolent agent of Satan or the ego, but is an agent of sublime judgment, wisdom, who destroys destructive beliefs of FEAR, fear, false evidence appearing real, and attachment, families, cultures, religions, educations, etc., that keep consciousness in limitation. Abaddon functions as a necessary site for transformation. This is why Abaddon is viewed as a dark angel. Abaddon dismantles by cutting away the mental, spiritual, and psychic structures rather than mere physical death, the delusion. Revelation chapter 11 verse 7. The beast ego of revelation ascends from this pit, represents the personalized negativity or conscious that temporarily harms but has no lasting power. Revelation chapter 17 verse 8. The beast thou sawest was and is not, shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. Perdition signifies an exoteric state of ultimate spiritual ruin, or the false light, irreversible decay, and in many contexts is the final destruction of the egoic self, which is doomed by its own attachments to falsehood and ignorance. The Greek term apoleia signifies waste or destruction. The state of being lost implies self has become completely blinded to truth. The son of perdition refers to the archetypal embodiment of this destruction, such as Judas or the Antichrist, symbolizing belief in separation, selfishness, and otherness, which is the complete merging of a conscious entity with ruin. It is the state of the ego that has forfeited the sublime inheritance. The righteous heirs Avatara, who chose as a state of emptiness, described it as misery and loss. Perdition is essentially the ultimate consequence of turning away from love, resulting in a state where there is no purity to be found because it is veiled by self-deception. The absolute, the unlimited, that principle signifies the restoration from the bottomless pit is complete. The absolute symbolizes the all-encompassing supreme reality upon which all beings had been overlaid. Veil of self-denial, with the veil of self-denial. Yet nothing could affect that which is unconditioned, unlimited, and all there is. The awakened consciousness is the symbol of completeness, the expression of absolute that must be accompanied by declaring Christ's material consciousness. The kingdom has come, and soul, the only presence, is the affirming light of truth. The temporary character unified with the absolute through recognition of the righteous heirs Avatara, in whose image she materialized. The awakened consciousness has become one with the absolute, unrestricted, and free from all limitations, in order to demonstrate the supreme power of truth. The absolute signifies the ultimate state of restoration, enlightened, anatta, no self, non-dual, utter, essenceless, beyond form and conceptual boundaries. The restoration from the bottomless pit is symbolized as the absolute, undifferentiated, highest form of excellence. The absolute cannot be found, but is a revelatory principle beyond intuition and gives perfection. The justified rest and peace, where awakened consciousness abides in a state of holiness, without needing additions. The absolute substratum gives support as the source of gnosis, direct experience, absolute knowledge, source of consciousness, which is the totality expressed as infinity. The Absolute is the refuge for the awakened consciousness, acting as a fundamental reservoir within the temporary character, emphasized as being essential for negation, ending, and the limiting appearance, truth as love. The temporary character, the model led by devotion, who has attained the condition of amorous devotion to the Absolute by awakened consciousness, distinguish the Absolute from the relativity of the fabrication. The Absolute signifies that Krishna, Christ's material consciousness, is entirely transcendent as the abode of Rada, soul omnipresence. The Absolute is designated as inherently free from all imperfection, the bottomless pit, and through the completion of awakened consciousness, possess innumerable attributes and illimitable excellence. The bottomless pit symbolizes the age-old mystery, an endless hole. It is nothing coming from nowhere. Presence.